When I was 18 years old, graduated from high school, I got $2,000, and a guy in the church, and I'm so ashamed to say this, I don't remember the guy's name, said, give me $1,000. I said, what are you gonna do with it? He goes, I'm gonna invest it for you. I said, in what? He said, the stock market. I was like, okay, great. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me $20 a month. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want you to set up a draft in your checking account. I want you to send me $20 a month. He said, if you make more money, send me more money. I said, great. So at 18, I did that. And I did not realize that that's one of the probably top 5 decisions I ever made. We were strapped because my wife was working part-time, teaching and coaching part-time, and I was making, $60,000 a year coaching. Well, I started working at church making like 35. So we took a huge pay cut. So wife and 2 kids are living on $55,000 a year.
All right, welcome back to another episode of The Flip Side with your host, me, Blake Shultz. I've got a good friend of mine, Thomas Cox, today. Thanks for being here.
So glad to be here. Great.
So Thomas, we've known each other for a couple months.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're pretty good friends. I know you as a business owner, entrepreneur, retired football coach, father, strong Christian. And I love getting to know you. And so I'm excited to dive in today about all of those aspects and any other surprises you have for me.
It's going to be great.
Before we talk about where you're at now, take me back a little bit. Where'd you come from?
So born and raised in Birmingham. From the time I was 5, knew what I wanted to do for a living. I did. I wanted to be a college football coach. And so my life was predicated around that. Grew up in a really strong Christian home. Parents were divorced, but parents were still around. So I knew I was going to coach college football. So a lot of what I did was based around sports. My dad is in the Hall of Fame in the state of Alabama as a high school football coach.
I know that.
Got to play for him my senior year, and then went on to play at UAB. I was in school. I was not a grade kid. Not a great reader in high school, not a great student in high school. I was a 3.0 kid, made like 17 on the ACT. I was there to play ball, not in a like malicious negative way, a lot of common sense, but then just was there to play ball. So go to college, played at UAB, absolutely loved Birmingham. But when I graduated, I knew that I needed to go do something else. And so I could not find a college job. And so I went to Atlanta and got to coach with my dad. So my dad retired, go to Atlanta. And loved coaching with him. So during that time, that was the start of so I'll marry the stories. That was the start of the financial journey. So my parents were both school teachers growing up. Incredibly middle class, lived paycheck to paycheck, lots of debt, all that world. Well, when I was 18 years old, graduated from high school, I got $2,000 from graduation, just random $20 bills and $50 bills from people. And a guy in the church, and I'm so ashamed to say this, I don't remember the guy's name, said, give me $1,000. I said, what are you going to do with it? He goes, I'm going to invest it for you. I said, in what? He said, the stock market. I was like, okay, great. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me $20 a month. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want you to set up a draft in your checking account. I want you to send me $20 a month. He said, if you make more money, send me more money. So great. So at 18, I did that. And I did not realize that that's one of the probably top 5 decisions I ever made. Finding Jesus, marrying my wife, and doing that at 18 were incredibly important. So I did that, and then I go to live in Atlanta with my dad. And if at that point, I just save a ton of money because I graduated from college. I don't have any debt because I was on scholarship. And I worked. That's all I did. I taught school, coached in the afternoon, cleaned buildings at night with a friend. So all I did was work. My fiance or girlfriend at the time was in Alabama, so I didn't have her to distract me.
Yeah.
So we did that. So I'm there 2 years, getting off the plane from my honeymoon, get a call from a college coach that we knew that offered me a job. So we coach at NC State. We're at NC State for a few years, get fired from there. Not me, the whole staff. So in college football, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So we get fired. Then I go and coach at Tennessee Tech for the guy that coached me in college, Watson Brown, who's here from Birmingham. So I did that for a while and loved it. The problem was in college football, it's very, very hard to have a family and be a great father. There are college football coaches that are great dads, but it was a struggle because we work so much. Did that for a while, loved it. My wife loved it. My wife was a coach. I was a coach. We had 2 kids at the time.
And what was she coaching?
She was the head volleyball coach at Cookville High School.
Okay.
She's an incredible volleyball coach. She's been doing it over 20 years at this point today as we sit here. But she lost like one region game in 8 years as a head coach in Tennessee.
Wow.
She's incredible. And then, so I get a call from the Lord to like get out of coaching. But the problem was, is God will call you to certain things, but God will call you out of other things as well. So I felt God calling me out of coaching. But the problem is I didn't know what he was calling me into. Mm-hmm. And that's really, really difficult to be obedient there because there's no next step. And so I worked at a church, got a guy that offered me a job, said, come help me. He was a former athlete too. I was like, great. So I worked at a church for 2 years. 6 months later, guy comes in my office. My boss says, can you help me with a meal plan? Let me backtrack. So during my time coaching there, I got really involved in CrossFit back in the day. Like before, CrossFit is on its way down at this point as we sit here in 2025. But in 2008, 2009,
it was hot.
Bro,
it was new.
It was hot. and I just happened to live in the mecca of CrossFit. I lived in Cookeville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So I lived there, loved it, and got really involved, drank the Kool-Aid. And so when you get involved in CrossFit, you drink the Kool-Aid, they force nutrition down your throat. So I learned lots about nutrition just by default. Mm-hmm. I have a history degree, don't have a culinary degree, but I learned about food. And I started doing meal plans for this guy. And just like anything, that just mushroomed. So, fast forward 2 years later, I quit the church, I started doing catering. I got 20, thousands of people that do our meal plans in 27 different countries. This is before you could find a meal plan on Google in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So that grew. We started catering. Then we opened up a small restaurant in Tennessee. And so in Tennessee, we grow that business for 5 years. We get a call to come do the food for Highlands College. So we do the food now. So let's get to current day. So currently we do the food for Highlands College. Mm-hmm. We have 2 different catering companies, MealFit and Table Time. And we have a vending business that we have. That is the food part of my life. Back in 2017, one of my best friends, John Pattison in Tennessee, he and I decided that all of our friends, so this is positive peer pressure, all of our friends started owning rental houses, buying a rental house here, buying a rental house there, and all that stuff. And so I saw a video, and everybody knows who Grant Cardone is. I saw a video back in 2016, 17, whatever. He looked in the camera and he said, why would I buy one house when I can buy an apartment complex and have 20 houses under one roof? And it's almost like, Blake, it's almost like that single video or that single line in the video, it clicked in my brain. And at that point, I never even looked at buying single family homes.
Defining moment.
It really, really was.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that one of my defining moments was Grant Cardone because I think he's great, but like, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we bought an apartment complex in 2017, but the way we were able to buy it was that money that I put in the market at 2000 when I was 18 years old.
That's awesome.
And so I just dollar cost averaged, and we talked about that on our podcast. I dollar cost averaged all those years, and it just grew. It just grew. And so I used some of that money to buy our first apartment complex. We moved to Birmingham. After we moved to Birmingham, we bought another one in Jacksonville, Alabama. And then 2 years later, I bought another one myself. So we owned some multifamily, got really involved in the real estate and investing game. So we own multifamily. We've started a couple funds and raised some money for different investments. And then here's about 3 or 4 years ago, we got really involved in infinite banking and cash value life insurance and that whole process. And that's really been our focus the last 2 years for me. Now we still own the catering businesses, but we structured that a little bit differently the last 2 years to where I don't have to do as much with that. I still manage it. I'm still there involved in contracts and things like that. But from the day-to-day standpoint, I don't mess with it. Yeah. And so the bulk of my time right now is spent on real estate and finance. And I really, really love that world.
That's awesome. So much to unpack.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into it. So going back, starting the meal plan, that was focused around fitness meal plan, so healthy eating.
Right.
Is that what the meal plans that you grew that went countrywide, worldwide, and then went into a restaurant and catering business? Was all that the same type of healthy, clean, fresh, or was it just, hey, whatever the demand is, we're frying chicken? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So everybody thinks it was centered around fitness, and it was, but our goal with the meal plans was I want to help busy moms. That was the target. It was busy moms because we were busy. And you typically solve a problem that you have.
Yeah.
You know, the rental business.
Yeah.
Like I can name 3 or 4 of them for you. You typically solve a problem that you have. And so we were, running in 4 different directions. And I always wanted to eat healthy because of the CrossFit background. Okay. So what I would do is I would set up these meal plans, these recipes, and then I would make a grocery list. And that's really what it was. It was recipes with a grocery list so that, Blake's wife could print it off, add whatever she'd add, toilet paper and, peroxide and rubbing alcohol and whatever, and then go to the grocery store and she's got her list.
Yep.
That was my goal. And that's who I targeted. Okay. Well, then all the moms in Cookville, where I live, were like, hey, we see your food looks amazing, but we're not buying your meal plan. But if you ever started making it, we'd buy it. So then we started meal prep. And this is before meal prep.
Yeah.
And I got pictures, Blake. It was bonkers. I got pictures of line out the door on Sunday night. When people
Did it start at your house?
I did not start at my house. I started in a rented, and I told this story 2 days ago. Kevin Bowling, who I owe so much to, he's in Cookville, Tennessee. Kevin Bowling allowed me to use his ranch kitchen. It was like his property he had, and had a commercial kitchen there. He let me use it, and it got me started.
Okay.
So I owe Kevin Bowling so much. 2-3 months into doing that, I left the gas on at night. He comes back in and says, hey, bro, I love you. You're a brother in Christ. He said, but you got to go.
Yeah.
And he says, I can't risk it. I was like, fair enough. He gave me another week, and I had to leave.
Yeah.
Mike Campbell, who was a pastor at a church, let me use his commercial kitchen in his church, charged me for that. And then a friend of mine said, hey, there's this barbecue joint out here in the middle of nowhere. You want to rent it? I was like, yeah, sure. No heat, no air, 440 square feet. Froze our butt off in the winter, sweated our face off in the summer, and then it grew from there.
Wow. Out of that barbecue hut.
Out of that little barbecue joint.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So could people come? It was just come pick up meals. It wasn't like a come sit down
When
restaurant.
we first started, Blake, in that barbecue joint, it was so out in the sticks that I had to deliver. So I was delivering to people's homes, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then we got to the point where we couldn't do that anymore. And I had this guy that was referred to me and said, hey, you need to go talk to this guy named Chad. And so Chad came out and said, hey, I'm going to look at your operation. So he just kind of observed for like 45 minutes. He's like, hey, I got an idea. He's like, won't you come and take our spot downtown? We got 2 restaurants downtown. Mm-hmm. One's thriving, one's floundering. You don't need it as a restaurant. You just need a bigger kitchen and space, and it's centralized. Once you use it, I was like, I can't afford a place like that. He's like, I think you can. Well, he was renting from a guy that was a true slumlord. I mean, the power bill was more than the rent. It was so poorly done in the building, but it was great for me.
Yeah.
And that's when we really took off. Because people started seeing it. And I was there 3 or 4 months. It's like, hey, I got to open up something. And so you could see the university and the hospital from my front door. And so we turned it into a salad bar type thing where it's like Whole Foods. Yeah. You weigh it.
Yeah.
We did that. We did that during the week, and we had meal prep on the weekend, and we made a lot of money.
So you stopped deliveries altogether?
We stopped deliveries altogether, and we just started doing that, and people were picking up on Sundays, and it was great. And, I'm going to go back to this from a financial standpoint. We were strapped because my wife was working part-time, teaching and coaching part-time, and I was making, $60,000 a year coaching. Well, I started working at the church making like 35. So we took a huge pay cut. So a wife and 2 kids are living on $55,000 a year.
Yeah.
Well, we lived on that budget even when we started the business. So the first year we did meal plans, it made about $8,000. The second year I made about 80. Third year we doubled to 165. Fourth year we were at 350, and we doubled for 3 or 4 years straight. But we kept our household budget at that dollar amount, and we just stacked a lot of money, Blake. We just saved it before I knew anything about investing and diversifying and things like that. We saved so much money, and it is what propelled us to do what we do now.
Yeah. So, and that was with deliveries when you had that the highest gross income was at that delivery. So shutting that down, turning it into the restaurant, was the restaurant doing that well as well?
Yeah, we didn't lose money. We were open 11 to 2, Blake.
Oh, wow.
Just lunch.
Okay.
And it was you couldn't sit down, so we were 5 days a week, 11 to 2.
You ran, and it was lean, I guess.
Very, very lean.
Yeah.
Now it grew. The problem is when you get to a certain point, you think you need to add stuff to make more money. When you add stuff to make more money, you incur more costs. You have to pay more people. You have to buy more crap. And what happens is is everybody says they want all these other things, but then they typically go back to what they know and love. Mm-hmm. And so we were still making money, but it was really cyclical. When school was in, bro, we were killing it. When school was not in, we were floundering because 10,000 people in a town of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Or there were 10,000 more people in town when the students were there. Not because it was all students that were coming in, but there were a lot of students. But people, just like here, people love rhythm. So a gym and a church and meal prep are the same. Let me explain. Gyms, churches, and meal prep thrive August to December. Then they thrive January to May. Why? Because school's in.
System. Yeah.
School is in. People in a rhythm have their habits. So I'd see the same freaking people every day, bro, at the restaurant. When school was out, the Smiths are on vacation this week. The Joneses are on vacation this week. The Shultz are on vacation this week. And so there was never any consistency when Christmas vacation, summer vacation.
Yeah.
And so I realized then I'm one of the lucky few that didn't just get my butt handed to me by a restaurant. I realized that this is not sustainable. It's not how I want to make my money. And so I figured out, and it's not a light bulb moment, but I figured out that I want when we make money in the food business, I want to have the money accounted for before I buy the food. Catering, meal prep was all the same thing. Now here I have the vending business, and the vending business is very, very low waste. Figure out what the people want, and it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I want to talk about that as well. But before we switch into that, restaurant is seemingly the riskiest business to get into. Everyone says avoid it from a just business entrepreneurial standpoint. What's your take on that? You had a successful one. You kind of saw the writing on the wall, you said. Yeah, sure. But would you encourage or discourage people to get into it?
So in college, I had a job parking cars. And from the second semester in college all the way to the fifth year of college, I parked cars. Made a boatload of money. I mean, Blake, for a college kid, not like the college kids today and the NIL stuff, but like I'd make $300, $400, $500 a week, and just like I didn't spend. I just made a bunch. Some weeks I'd make $1,000. Like I just made a bunch of money. But I got to park cars at a place called Highland Bar and Grill and Bottega. And so if you're in Birmingham, you know that those are two of the best restaurants in Birmingham. And Frank Stitt, who was a friend of my dad's, has been around. He's won a James Beard Award. During the late 90s, early 2000s, and even if both were open today, they'd still be one of the top restaurants in Alabama. And I worked there. And so I remember like it was yesterday, Blake. I remember sitting there at midnight one night after I got off my shift, and the same bartenders were there for 20-something years. And I looked at the menu because I never went to places like that growing up because we couldn't afford it. And I remember looking at the menu, and I remember seeing a steak for $63. Now, this is in 2001-ish. It was a lot of money. And I go, bro, Frank's making so much money off this food. And he goes, he ain't making it off the food, Thomas. He's making it off of this. And he picks up a martini glass. He said, this martini costs $17.
In 2001.
In 2001.
That's crazy.
He goes, Frank ain't making money on it. He makes a little money on the food. They said, Frank's not losing money on food. Frank's making a killing on booze. And I was like, I get it. I get why these people are in here until 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Bro, 12 o'clock at night, 4 or 5 nights a week, that bar was full.
Yeah.
Because when you drink, I don't drink, but when you drink, you want to drink more. And it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah. So from a restaurant, that's a long answer to a short question. From a restaurant's perspective, I do not believe a restaurant is a good business. There are a lot of people out there that make a lot of money doing it. But the time is incredibly intensive, and it's extremely risky. Bad weather, different things come up. You're not gonna be full. So I don't think it's a great. I talked to a guy last week about wanting to start a restaurant. I was like, nah, bro, don't do it. Yeah. It's like, I'm out if you do it.
Yeah. I just finished Unreasonable Hospitality.
It's a great book. Will Girardi, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Dude's a G. It's a great book. But the concept of the book is wonderful. And if you've never read that, I'd recommend highly reading it. But it's a great, but he makes millions of dollars, but he's a restaurant guy.
Yeah. What was also, so what I liked about my biggest takeaway was he went in from when he was 22 years old with one goal: be the number one restaurant in the world.
Yep.
Period. That was it.
That's it.
That was his only goal, and that was his only focus for running it for
Yeah.
15 years. And he hit it.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. But it wasn't about the money to him. And I think that's again, I've never been in restaurants, but it's got to be a passion project, right? And if you do it well and have clear and defined goals, that maybe the outcome is money, but that's not the focus. That's not the input.
I think the problem a lot of times is you can cook good. Everybody likes your food, and then all of a sudden 14 friends say you need to open a restaurant. And then, Susie opens a restaurant and fails miserably. Well, there's a big difference in being a chef and a business owner.
Right.
And the ones that can do that both well are elite.
Yeah.
There aren't many.
Which it sounded like in the book, he had a partner named Daniel who was the chef, and he was the business owner, right? So, and that's
if you can have both of those, bro, it's a better deal. But like if you just like you love cooking, barbecue, I mean, it's just a totally different animal.
Yeah.
The way you have to balance the food and the labor and all of those things, it's mind-boggling.
So if you're an entrepreneur wanting to go out and start something to make money, restaurant's not the answer.
No.
There's a lot easier ways to do it.
Absolutely. There's so many other ways to do it.
Yeah. So. All right. So let's switch over to catering now. Got a catering business. You serve Highlands College, which I'm assuming is fairly cyclical as well, because that's in and out, students in and out. So supplement that. You've got 2 catering companies that are independent, and then the vending business.
Yeah.
Vending business intrigues me. Last time we met, we kind of dove into that. I want to talk about it as well. You were just launching into a new building, or you were adding a second machine into a building that was your top producer already. So catch me up.
So it's taken me about 3 years to figure this thing out. We were doing the meal prep thing. It's still in Birmingham. We were losing money. So I shut that down, and I saw this vending thing. And I probably saw it on a Facebook ad or something like that. And then I talked to the people at the company, and I said, "Hey, you got anybody that does anything like this I can talk to?" And he hooked me up with this girl in Texas. And this girl's probably 40 years old. She has a catering business like me in Texas, but she has like 20 machines, and she absolutely kills it. And so we got to be buddies, and she has taught me so much. Brittany, her name is Brittany. She has a company called Tomei Catering in, I can't remember the name of the city, in Texas, and she's wonderful. But she's taught me how to do this. And so it's a refrigerator that's locked, that only opens when you swipe it. So, and you put real food in there. Well, what we were doing is we were putting our meal prep in there.
Yeah.
We were adding things and figuring out how that goes. And so, but what we figured out, Blake, is that it needs to be places that are open 24 hours a day, foot traffic during the day of over 100 people. And the more hours that the people are circulating, the better you're going to be. U.S. Steel does really good. The hospitals do really good because there's people there 24 hours a day. And a lot of times in the hospital, for example, cafeteria closes at 2.
Yeah. And days and nights kind of don't matter, depending, right?
Well,
family and...
No, it doesn't matter. Well, like, for example, our biggest, purchase time is like 5:30 p to 2:30 a.
Yeah.
Because when Susie, who's a NICU nurse, she can't leave. And DoorDash doesn't run at 1 a.m. So she comes down there and gets our food. And I don't want to make this thing like esoteric or anything like that, but I feel like we're doing a great thing for those people because it's great food and they enjoy it, and it's relatively healthy food.
Yeah. Well, who hasn't been, spent time with a loved one in the hospital sitting there for 2 days, and you have to go out to a vending machine and get a bag of chips because nothing's open. Right. I mean, that's where with the surgery I had a couple months ago, like I was in the hospital for 3 days. Rachel went home once, but was basically there with me the whole time.
Oh, sure.
And having something like that for her would have been,
it'd been a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd see that. We didn't talk about hospitals last time. Are you in any hospitals?
Yeah. We're in a bunch of different hospitals. We're in St. Vincent's East, UAB, Maine, downtown, UAB Highlands, St. Vincent's Maternity. I think that's it.
Okay.
It's our most consistent and best revenue.
Yeah.
Just simply because being there and you've got people there all the time.
Yeah.
Again, 24 hours a day. That's the key.
And you learned some consistency probably with you said the waste is pretty low. So you've got people on routes running, stocking daily every other day, and pretty close what the demand is.
The machines are pretty high tech as far as like you can see what's in there. And so, but like I'll give you an example. UAB Highlands is going to be different than UAB Maine. And UAB And St. Vincent's East is going to be different than U.S. Steel simply because of the people that are there. And so I tell everybody, hey, it's going to take me 3 or 4 weeks to figure out what you guys like. U.S. Steel is not a salad place. They love salads at UAB Highlands.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to figure out what they are. And then also, as costs rise, what do you have to get rid of? This is an item that people like, but they don't love it. So we can get rid of this item because it's only a 30% margin.
Yeah.
So it's a game, a little bit of a game. And trying to figure that out, that's where you can really make money, is when you figure out that they love these things. They love these things. They hate these. Don't put these there because you're going to waste those.
Yeah.
So,
is that an arm of your business that you love where it's at, just kind of keep it going, or is there a growth strategy and a rocket ship fuel going into that soon?
There's a growth strategy, but anything with the food business, Blake, I am not rocket shipping. We are growing 8 to 12% a year. It's very consistent. And I love it.
Yeah.
But again, I don't put forth so much effort into that business because of the other things that we do that I enjoy more.
Yeah.
And so at 45 with 3 kids, and my time is extremely valuable, I want to do the things that I enjoy doing more as opposed to the things I have to do more. And look, I've worked my butt off since I was 18. I feel like I can do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and you got enough going on where you can pick and choose.
Sure. Absolutely.
This is the thing. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's catering. That's the food world. Let's switch over to, let's get into real estate.
Yeah.
A little bit. So you've got 3 apartment complexes.
Yep.
2 of them you have a partner with. One of them you own in personally,
outright, yeah.
just outright. Talk about the management of those.
Yeah.
That's a thorn in my side that has never gone away in all my investing career.
Sure.
A lot of that's my fault. Yeah. So it's something we haven't talked about before. So how do you manage
I think you have a little bit more of a control issue than I do.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. It's just the way we're wired. I don't want the control. I don't just like you. I don't take the money from the apartment complexes. They don't have to have the money to pay my power bill.
Right.
I don't have to have it. And so I am willing to give up the 7-8% that I pay to the management company for them to fool with it. I get a text message when people move out and says, Blake's moving out, the rent's $750. We recommend staying at $750. No, make it $775. Like, that's the extent of what I do. I got a text last night, hey, something's leaking in 201. I'm going to call Michael. Great. That's it. Like, I do everything. I hadn't been to any one apartment complexes in like 3 years.
Are they in the same area? We have the same company?
3 totally different areas, 3 different companies. One of them is the one in Jacksonville and the one in Cookeville, Tennessee, are managed by 2 different people. They both do a good job. Could one of them be better at some things? Yeah. But like, they do a good job. Okay. The one in Scottsboro, a guy lives in one of the apartments. He gets a discount and I pay him a fee to manage it. Does a heck of a job. So like, I don't fool with any of it.
Are all those 3 companies / people the original that you found, or did you go cycle through some first?
Yeah, they're all original.
Really?
Yep. Now, for the first year and a half in Tennessee, John managed it, my partner, because we wanted to save the 8 or 9%. And we got to a point where he called and said, hey, dude, I'm done. I want you to buy me out. I was like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm done. I'm tired of fooling with it, because I moved to Birmingham 6 weeks after we bought them. And I said, wait. Let's look at the numbers. Let's just hire somebody to do it. He's like, okay. So we hired somebody to do it, and it's been great. Yeah. Now, he handles the there's a couple bills that got to be paid every now and again. He handles that. I handle Jacksonville. He handles the Cookeville ones, and I do obviously my own. But like, it's really like, we'll go 2 weeks and not even talk sometimes. We text a lot, but like, sometimes we don't even talk about them. We paid the down payment on both of them. And for the first time in 8 years, we had to make a small payment because we had a massive leak. We had to pay like $8,000 a piece. Yeah. And so for the most part, I've had them for 8 years. They've doubled in value, and I've not had to do anything with it. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Is the intent to hold them forever?
Yeah. Like, we had an offer 2 months ago, and for the guy to give me $100,000 more, I'd have probably taken it. But the problem is right now, where we sit in the market, is like, it's really hard to 1031 into something without getting crushed with an interest rate or whatever. So, by the way, off camera, I do want to talk about, if you ever buy anything in Tennessee, I've got a awesome situation for you.
Okay.
So, from a rate standpoint.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm open to it.
Yep.
My issue with management. So I have management companies on probably 60% of my portfolio.
So you're managing 40% of your portfolio?
30.
Why?
Well, those I've set up. So here's
Hear me out, Thomas.
What had happened?
Yeah.
All right, so the stuff that I manage is small. The biggest thing I manage is, I think, a quadplex. The rest is all our commercial. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. Joe's Italian down in Pelham. I manage that.
But that's a restaurant, right?
Yeah. They lease my building.
But it's a triple net lease?
Triple net lease. Like I said, so this is my point. This is my point, is all the stuff I manage is not my headache. Because I place the tenants, I vetted them, I renovated almost all these spaces.
Yeah.
I set it up to where I don't have to do much.
Sure.
Like arguably I do less on the ones that I manage than you do on the ones that you don't manage.
Yeah, sure.
I probably am pretty confident saying that. My issues are the ones I have managers on. Not all of them. Like this building we're sitting in. J.H. Berry manages this. Incredible. Love
So
them.
you own this building?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's my low income stuff, which I'm trying to get out of anyways.
Sure.
But trying to find a manager, like my 10-unit apartment downtown, it has been less than 50% occupied for probably 2 years.
Oh, Blake.
And I'm on my third manager. And it's now extreme ownership, right? I should be on my 10th manager by now and should be occupied because I need to pay full attention to it. And I haven't. But at the same time, it's just like
50%?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just no.
Well, you got a great deal if you're not losing money at 50% occupancy.
Like breaking even with 4 people in it right now.
Bro.
We got a good deal. I mean,
that's a great deal.
It's a good deal. But at the same time, it could be cash flowing pretty well.
It could be cash flowing great.
Right? And so I missed a call yesterday with our P. I'm going to call him today. And our call is, this is the third. Okay, so here's the thing. It was managed by someone for a while, for like 2 years. Finally let them go because they got bought. It just crashed and burned. Switched to a different one. They're like, okay, well, we actually just got bought too, but here's all the resources, sold me on like why it's better. Okay, here's your dedicated 2 people that are just going to kill it. They're the experts. Great. Okay, and at the time we had 2 people in it.
Out of 10?
Yeah. And I said, okay, here's my problem is I've been at like 2 for 6 months, and that's why I'm hiring y'all. When are we going to be full? I'm not give you a date. You tell me. You give me a date. And this was probably 3 months ago, and they said September will be 10 out of 10. Okay. Great. Since then, I haven't fired that company yet. I'm about to. I'm on my 3rd expert because those 2 people left. They've been replaced. That person stuck around for 3 weeks. They've been replaced. Now I've got this new person in who's now an expert. And I'm just like, I'm sick of this. Like, there's a reason they're not staying around. So
you almost want to put somebody in apartment 2 and say, hey, you manage this place.
Yeah. Well, where I'm at, this is my idea, and it's not fully. It's just a thought right now, because I've got maybe 20 units that I manage myself. There's 10 that needs to be managed. There's a duplex in Hueytown, so maybe 30, 35 units that are I could get off my plate.
Right.
That's not enough money to hire someone full time to work for me.
No.
Do it. But it is enough for about a third of a person. So let me go find 2 more of me. The 3 of us split one person who we all agree how things need to be operated and do it that way. And I think I'd end up with more money in my pocket.
Okay,
better.
Why don't you do the whole online thing? Are those markets small enough to where those people can't function and do it online stuff? Meaning like
low income.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's there's a lot of.
Have you thought about Section 8?
Yeah, I love Section 8.
You do love Section 8.
Yeah, I love Section 8.
I hate Section 8. I've dove into it a little bit. I don't like it because I don't like all the inspection stuff. But again, different. Jason Long's one of my best friends. He loves Section 8. Mm-hmm. So, but he manages all his.
Yeah. There may be one Section 8 tenant of those 4 in that one. And then I've got probably 3 or 4 other Section 8s that I manage. And again, some of my easiest people. Because they know, last I heard, this is an outdated stat, but there's an 8-year wait list in Birmingham to get a voucher.
Bro. They're begging people to have Section 8 stuff.
So these tenants know if they don't take care of my property, I'm going to take care of it. but they're going to lose their voucher and then they're homeless because they don't have enough money to pay a place and they lost their voucher.
Can you get all of your units Section 8? Because you would solve your problem at that point.
Yeah. So here's a whole nother thing is why I need to take it over, which I don't want to but I need someone who will do it, because that was our conversation with this manager of turn them Section 8. They'll go $800 a month instead of market $700.
Yeah.
And I like it better. And they're like, oh yeah, we're applying. Okay. Well, it's been 4 months. What are we doing? It's just killing me. So anyways, I'm kind of ranting now, but it's just driving me nuts. So anyways, that's why I'm switching over to commercial, like retail, office, warehouse, flex, triple net.
Yeah.
I'm getting into that world. And the focus is just buy, not for cash flow, but for long-term.
So you're at these low C properties.
Yeah. I mean, this is as close to D without being D as you can get. Like I'm not going there after 1 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, it's not a great North Birmingham. You're walking to the new Coca-Cola amphitheater. So like that's like the carrot for me is like, I don't want to sell it. Cause like 10 years from now, but it's not right now.
So let me ask you a question. Have you thought about making some of these short-term rentals? Have you thought about, because you have a construction background, have you thought about taking some of these that are closer to the downtown market and making them short-term rentals? So let me say this. I got a buddy who is killing it in the midterm rental market.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks travel nurses, but it's not just travel nurses. But like, what about exploring that? Have you thought about that? 'Cause especially in your if you could take your 10 units downtown.
The area's too rough.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah. I did short term for a house I have in Southside.
Oh yeah.
And it was okay. I actually had a buddy kind of arbitrage it because I didn't want to.
You didn't want to fool with it.
This is before my castle. So this is before I had systems. I probably could bump it back in. But I've got a long-term tenant in there. Cash flows $400 or $500. Let it roll. That's the one I manage. I talk to the dude twice a year. Yeah. Never hear from him.
Check just you deposited. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So anyways, got me on my soapbox for property management.
I would love to explore the midterm rental world.
Yeah.
I don't love short-term rental. We talked about this on our podcast. I have the place at the lake, Walcox Point, walcoxpoint.com. It's great, but like, it's a legacy property. We're going to make a little money, but I don't invest it. Every dollar I spend goes back into the place. Like, it's not an investment.
Well, it's a job. It's hospitality. It's like a restaurant.
It's hospitality, bro.
It's not passive.
Short-term rental is hospitality. Yes. It is not real estate.
Yep.
Unless you're arbitraging, it is hospitality.
Yes.
You got to have cookies. You got to have a handwritten note. You got to do all that bullcrap. Like, it's fine, but like, I don't want to do that. I think the midterm market is really intriguing.
Did I tell you about Jude, my son's house? We bought them a house for their college when they were born. Did I tell you about
Love that concept?
Did I tell you about the insurance tenant we had?
No.
Dude. Okay, so this house, it's by us in Bluff Park. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, going rates $2,500 a month for long-term tenant. So we put it up.
Dang.
Yeah, but it's pretty good.
Hoover.
Our payments $1,900 a month, so we can cash flow $500-600.
Yeah.
Or our expense. So.
And that's one of your kids' houses.
Yeah, that's our son's house. So it'll be once he's old enough to pick up pine cones, he's gonna be out there. He's got he's got to earn it. But we had it. I put it up on the MLS for rent, $2,600, whatever it was, and I got a call from an adjuster. He goes, "Hey, would you be willing to take someone who needs it for 3 months?" And I was like, "Not at this rate, because the time of year. If you put me in the wrong time of year at the end of that 3 months, and I'm vacant for a while." So he was like, "Well," I was like, "Probably not at the $2,500 a month." He goes, "Well, at what rate?" And he goes, "This is a family in like a couple of miles from me that had a house fire and they need it rebuilt, and it's a 3-month project, so they need a place to stay." And I said, "Well, it's not furnished." They said, "We'll take care of the furnishing." Okay. He said, "What's your rate?" I don't know. I go $51.25. And he goes, "All right, cool. They'll do that." And I was like, "Shoot,
dang it!
I should have said more."
6.
And so 3 months turned into 8. And so for 8 months, I mean, we're making like $3,000 a month. And
have you thought? Is there a system to where you can get back on that train?
Yes. So I put it on Furnished Finders once they moved out, which is midterm rental. That's like that's like the main midterm rental site. Advertised it, put it on MLS as long term and short term, different prices. I mean, I was pushing hard and then I was calling every adjuster. So I called insurance agents first. They said, "Great idea. We love that. We've got no say in that. The adjuster has the say."
And the adjuster works for the insurance company.
Yep. And they don't advertise their phone number, and agents don't like to give it out. And so that's the bottleneck I found. So long story short, I ended up finding a long-term tenant before I found another midterm. And I took it just because it's easy.
Sure.
But yeah, there is a play to build up and there are housing placing companies nationwide, like I forget the CES or something like that is one of them, where you go and you register your property on their list. And so when they have someone who needs temporary housing, they can go in their database, and you've registered your house in their database. They can pull and say, oh, you want Hoover, at least 3 bedrooms, no pets, fenced in yard, boom. And then they'll reach out and say, okay, what are you available? What's your rate? And so I've registered on all those sites.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, there's big money in the insurance play.
Because it's not long term. So like, just look at it. Long term rental is $2,500 a month. Taking the house example. Short term rental is $300 a night, probably $200 a night. Like if you're doing Airbnb.
Oh, yeah, 200 probably.
$200 a night.
Yeah.
So that's $6,000 a month. And then midterm is probably a sweet spot in the middle, probably closer to the upper end. So like you said, $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I think the midterm rental market is great.
Yeah. There's a play there. Right now it's a shiny object for me, so I'm ignoring it.
That's what we talked about that.
Because I've got too many other ideas.
Sure.
Some good, most bad. So I'm putting that aside, but knowing that, because at the same time, the Kidtopia we were talking about before we launched, that came with a house that I didn't
I know. Who rented that, by the way?
Just a tenant.
What are you getting for that place? Because you were really particular about that.
Yes. So I want to sell it. My goal is to sell it to a friend. I'm not putting it on market because I want to pick my neighbor.
You want to sell it to somebody that you know and love.
Yes. And so, which has been harder than I thought, because no one wants to move to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. All of our group is like, we've got kids. Chris Dixon, who's a friend of mine and a contractor, has quoted, hey, if we finish out the garage, here's the price. We can make it a 4.3. So anyways, that long-term trying to sell it, but got a tenant in there now. We're losing about $350 a month because my cold cost is high on it.
Why is your cold cost so high? Because it's so expensive?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I overpaid for the house, but
you got the lot.
But I got the land, and that was the goal. I underpaid for the land. It all shook out about the same.
But $350 a month is not awful. I mean,
it's a lot better than the $3,000 I was losing when it was vacant.
Sure.
Right. So that was the goal, is just stick someone in there. He wanted a year. I committed to 6 months because I didn't want to lose that much for a year. 6 months ends next month, and I don't have anyone, so we'll probably just keep it up. Just month to month. Yeah.
And at that point, when a female ever moves out, will you try to convert it?
I'm just going to try to get someone. So it's actually currently on Furnish Finders right now.
But what I'm saying is you're going to try to convert it to a 4.3.
Not preemptively. I'll do it when I find someone who wants it, and then they can pay the end price, and I'll build it for them under contract to where they mortgage, so they don't have to come up with the cash.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
I like it.
Okay, that was a lot about me. We're here to talk about.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This is what a normal conversation looks like between the two of us.
Right. Hard to stay on topic. All right. So we talked about real estate. So let's get into the money side.
Yeah.
First, I want to get into the fund that you've done, or multi different funds, and then get into the infinite banking concept.
Yeah.
A fund has always intrigued me. I've raised money a couple times for my own projects, and then I've been a lender to just one or two friends when they flipped houses. And that, when I got a taste of being a lender, of just the ease of you have a 1 hour conversation. I do maybe 2 hours of like work on my real estate side to make sure it's a good deal. And then months later, I get all my money back plus a really good return.
Sure.
I'm really interested in that because that's like super easy money from, I come from where you come from, of just hard work, and every dollar I've made was hard to get.
Yeah.
And so then I have that. I'm like, wow, that was really easy.
Yeah.
So
my dad tells us, my dad used to always ask me, my dad's passed away, is one of my best friends before he passed away, but he had a very restrictive mindset, very, not restrictive. He had a very scarcity mindset. Mm-hmm. And I would want to go buy something or go on a trip or whatever. And he'd always say, he'd go, hey, before you go spend that money, think about how many cars you had to park to get that money. and it would slow me down a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't slow me down now, but what was the question? Sorry.
Talking about a fund. So how you got into it and what it looks like.
So let me give you the example of why, and I'm going to give you two examples of like the last week. Okay. So I loaned a guy $175,000 on a deal. It was supposed to take 6 months. He said 6 or 7 months. Well, every month after 6, the rate goes up for me. Mm-hmm. And we were at month 12.
Wow.
And he had a massive interest bill. And I got it back yesterday.
Nice.
It was great. Okay. We got another guy that I did a deal. Me and Kendall, my buddy, split a house. Mm. Okay. He did some, I did some. The guy thought it was going to be 6 months. It's going to be like 8. Well, the rate went up 5% over those 2 months. And he sends me a message 2 days ago. And he saw where the price of the house that the guy's flipping has went down. He goes, hey, Coach, I guess the price went down. I guess that contract fell through. And I text back. I said, herein lies why we lend and we don't flip.
Yeah.
I did a flip with a guy, a real estate friend of mine, linked me with a guy. And he said, this guy got the house super cheap. He wants a partner. Y'all flip it together. So we flipped it together, meaning I was the bank. He did the work. We were going to make $80,000 a piece. Mm-hmm. It was a cheap house. It was a cheap house.
Yeah.
And it was it was in Trustful. And so like great school, like Trustful's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Trustful's not Mountain Brook, but it's pretty close as far as just wanting the stuff there. Yeah. So we flip it and the cost kept going up and he added this and I approved everything, but we ended up making $36,000 a piece. Mm-hmm. Now I know that I sound really bougie saying I made $36,000 and I was pissed, but when you think in your mind you're going to make 80 and you make 36, you get the check and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But again, first world problems.
Yeah.
But the lending part of what we do, I love. Mm. I love the lending part of what we do because, number one, people want to use us. We're higher than the bank, but people want to use us because of speed. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're providing a good service. I mean, I really, really do. Now, our rates are high, but like, you know that going in.
Right.
I'm not a shark. I'm not going to give it to you because you know that you can't repay it. Mm-hmm. But we only do first lien, and it's easy. I say it's easy money. It is the true definition of passive income. I wire money 6, 7, 8, 9 months later, I get money back. Mm-hmm. I don't fool with it. I send a text message every 4 months, every 3 months going, hey, how's everything going? You good?
Yeah.
And that's it.
What do you do on the front end to vet the deal to make sure you're not upside down? So in the instance of this guy flipped a house, wasn't a contract, lowered the price again, if he's getting to the point where he's not even going to break even, he may lose. Well, if your first position loan, if the house is worth less than what you've got on it, that is your problem.
Yeah, sure.
How do you mitigate that?
So I only loan to people. So I only loan to people that I know. I'm not going to loan to random people. Mm-hmm. So when I first started doing it, I had a long process of like, show me your costs, show me the address, show me the comps, all that. I went through that. Mm-hmm. I got a guy now that I don't do it with. Mm-hmm. We've done 15, 20 houses with him.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. I don't worry. This last guy, I did all that stuff. So what I'll do is I'll say, send me the address. I'll run the comps. Okay. I'll say, how much work do you needs to be done? Send me your cost there. So I'll give you a great example. There's a guy that I've tried to work with a couple times, a young guy. He's in his 20s. He's a killer. He's great. And for a young guy that's flipping houses in their 20s, it gets really difficult for them to not go after every deal. Mm-hmm. Bought a house, wanted the money, or was going to buy a house, wanted the money. I said, hey, send me the comps, send me the pictures, and then also send me what you're planning on doing. So I look at the thing, and I've looked at it enough to know I'm not an expert. I'm not Blake Shultz. I don't understand it like you do, but I got probably a second level understanding where you're probably third or fourth level. And I looked at the numbers like, hey, dude, these 4 numbers don't look right. Like I know windows are more than this, and I know that this is going to cost. It's going to cost more than this for I don't even remember what the 4 things were. He's like, I think I'm pretty good. He said, well, I'm meeting with the contractor tomorrow. And he said, I'll call you. I was like, oh, great. Just call me in the morning. It's 10 o'clock the next morning. He says, yeah, bro, it's going to cost $20,000 extra. And I go, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to go back to the buyer and see if they take $20,000 less. It's like, okay, great. I said, we'll roll then. And I said, hey, by the way, what were the things? I was right on 3 of the 4 of them. Not to like hurt my arm, not to hurt my arm, pat myself on the back, but like, I just knew that those numbers didn't sound right. Mm-hmm. $7,000 for windows. No, bro. No. No, no. You're looking at 15 or 20. Whatever. And so we go through that, and he walked away. I was so proud of the guy. He walked away because when you get that deep into it, Blake, you know how hard it is to I'll make it work.
Yeah.
No,
you spend so much time.
You spend so much time.
Yeah.
And so he walked away. I was super proud of him for doing that.
Yeah.
So all that being said, like the lending part for me is great. We started a fund. We were doing so much lending out of my own money that I started. My Aaron said, "Hey, why don't we start a fund and just gather some people's money?" So we had about, I want to say $600,000 that we gathered from random people, and we're giving them a 10 to 12% return, compounded quarterly. So it's great. Mm-hmm. We're making 15 plus, so we're taking the spread.
Yeah.
And we've got over $1 million in it now, just because of the interest we made, and so it's been great. I love the fund.
That's awesome. What's the goal for it? Continue to grow with more investors? Or you like where it's at?
Yeah, I think that you got to be careful. So let's talk about how you have to be careful with a fund. You have to be careful with the fund because you don't want to I don't want to get $500,000 from Blake and $300,000 from Johnny and $400,000 from me. So here I've got $2 million in the fund, and I only need 1.2. Mm-hmm. I got $800,000 sitting there not working. So you hear the term all the time from hedge funds. They've got capital to deploy.
Yeah.
So I asked a friend of mine, Scott Olson, who was on our podcast, who's bought and sold companies and made gazillions of dollars. I said, "What does this mean, Scott?" And he looks at me and he says, "Money has to be out and working in order for it to make more money." He said, "If it's just sitting there, in a lot of ways, you are losing money."
It's like a machine.
It's just like a machine. You have to work. The money has to be in circulation. Mm-hmm. And I tell the story about this all the time. There's three things that have to be moving in order to survive. Number one is blood. The blood in our body has to constantly circulate in order for it to be productive in our bodies. Circulation stops in a finger. What happens? You got to cut the finger off. Mm-hmm. Okay. Water. Water has to continually circulate. Water in a stagnant pond is diseased, dead water. The water in a river flowing from a mountain is clean, pure water. Mm-hmm. The third thing is money. Money has got to circulate in order for it to make more money. Cody Sanchez says it all the time. Your money's got to go out, but when your money goes out, it has to bring back friends. Mm-hmm. So money has to circulate. And so that's why you have to be careful with a fund. For if you called and said today, "Hey, T, I got $1 million that I want to put in the fund," I'll be like, "Hey, dude, I can take $500,000.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have too much in there that's not working, because you're expecting a 10 to 12% return on that money. And if I ain't making 15 or 13 or 14%, I'm in the red.
Because is that a guarantee I'm going to get that back?
I guarantee that you get that money back. I'm guaranteeing that if you commit for a year, it's a 10%. If you commit to 3, it's 12 to 11.
Yeah.
So I'm guaranteeing that because I know that I'm going to make 15 to 17% on the money
right
throughout the year. And we are cycling that money. Like I think we have $50,000 out of the $1 million in it right now.
Yeah.
So we're cycling it pretty good right now. But if you call and said I got $700,000, I'd say, "Dude, I can take $400,000 or $500,000.
Yeah.
Because I can deploy more of it. I just can't deploy another $1 million right now.
Yeah. And you got to pay out on $1 million.
And I know I got to pay out on that money.
Yeah. So which would dilute the overall return.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. Okay. So growth on that it's kind of what comes first. Because if you gather more investors too quickly, you don't have the funds to support them. If you get too much funds too quickly, then it dilutes all the return.
It's just like any business, Blake. Growth is expensive, and you have to be careful on how fast you grow. Businesses that grow too fast fail.
Yeah.
Businesses that grow too slow fail.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line of like, can you stay where you are? I can stay where I'm at and be just fine. It's like the guy that owns the HVAC business makes $75,000 a year. Mm-hmm. He can stay just like this, keep the same 3 employees, keep the same trucks, and grow and make the $75,000 a year and be just fine.
Yes.
This is not I'm putting all my effort into this thing right now. This makes us money. It's just slow and controlled, and I go from there. I'd love to raise some more money, but I got to be strategic about how I do that.
Yeah. Got to have a place to put it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get into infinite banking concept, I kind of want to wrap up with that. Yeah. I want to kind of jump back real quick. So we didn't talk about what the future of real estate for you looks like. Is there a growth pattern there, or are you good with the apartments you've got? And just because in the beginning of this podcast, you said right now, past 2 years, I'm focused on the infinite banking concept and that side of it.
Yep. Real estate. I want to continue to buy more apartments. Me and my partners have looked a lot on buying apartments. It's just really difficult right now. Things are really inflated by price, and interest rates are high. So like the math don't math.
Yeah.
What people want is a little too much. And the hard part is you have to be patient in that game. You've said it. I've said it. Everybody's said it. Who've ever been on a YouTube video. You make money when you buy, not when you sell.
Yep.
And so you got to buy it at a correct price because you don't. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have to cash flow thousands and thousands of dollars a month. I don't need this money to pay my bills. And so if I can invest $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in an apartment complex, I want to not lose money. I want to have a little bit of cash flow to pay for expenses and then move on from there.
Yeah.
So am I looking? Yes, I am absolutely looking. But am I like dead set on having something in 6 months? No, I'm going to be very, very patient and go from there. So.
All right. So on that topic of real estate, before we switch over, biggest mistake you've ever made in real estate investing?
Never be second position. There's 3 rules that me and my partners have come up with. Number 1 is never do a deal with someone that's not putting their own money in the deal. Mm-hmm. Number 2, never do a deal with someone you hadn't met face to face. Sounds really weird, but it fits.
Very common.
Number 3, never take second position.
All right. Explain second position.
Second position. So you own that house in Hoover, okay? And you're going to borrow $300,000 from the bank, okay? But you're going to renovate the house and you're going to put another $200,000 in it, okay? But the bank's only going to give you $300,000 or whatever, okay? So you then turn and go to me and you say, T, I need to borrow $200,000 to flip to renovate this house. I'm not going to be first position because first position is where the first position is the person that owns the house if you default. Mm-hmm. Second position is I get what's left over if the house gets sold. So I was second position on a couple deals, and it bit me in the butt. We lost all the money so far. We're still working to try to get it back, but we've been over a year and we've lost the money. And I realized how bad of a thing that was. I was young. I was silly in the thinking, and I thought that everyone did business like I do, and they don't, bro. Mm-hmm. So never, ever do second position on a deal because if never give money for someone to renovate the thing unless you have something to collateralize it with. If you don't have anything to collateralize the money that you gave Johnny or TJ or Susie, you are begging for a disaster. Mm-hmm. So
would that collateral have to be the house, or could you tie it to anything?
You could tie it to something else. You could. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is if you're dealing with that asset and they default on that asset, you're not going to recoup the money on that asset. And that's the thing that matters. If you cross-collateralize, and we did, you cross-collateralize on something else, the litigation process of that is so deep. So don't get complicated with this stuff. Be first position or no position. And I've had things, Blake, I had a girl in Homewood call me 6 months ago and said it was 20% over 2 months. And I was like, nah, babe, I'm sorry. I'm good.
Yeah.
She's like, I heard that you do these deals all the time. I was like, I used to. I don't do second position anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Mm-hmm. No amount of money is worth it. And they can say, well, you can hold this or hold that. No, I'm good. Yeah. First position or anything. So with our fund, all we do is first position loans. So I am the bank. Banking is the number 1 business in all of the world. Mm-hmm. In Trussville, Alabama, in New York City, in Mumbai, India, banking is the number 1 business in all of the world. And if you can be the bank, you may bank the money a little bit slower, but you're usually always going to make your money.
Mm. So following those 3 rules you started out with, so when you go fund a flip for somebody, it's not 100% purchase plus renovation, or no?
It's really, really close.
Okay.
But a lot of times flippers will want all the money.
Yeah.
And and it depends on if I know you.
Right.
Like I had a random guy come and ask me for it, like, how much money you putting in? He's like, I'm not putting any money in. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
These guys that I know that I've done business with for years, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Which shows how important the relationship is. It's everything.
So
right?
important.
What's the advice to the borrower who's looking at a project, maybe hasn't bought anything yet, but is going down the path of needing to ask for second position money? Is there advice you can give them before they make the purchase to avoid that?
If you have to ask for second position money, there's not enough margin in the deal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. The deal's not good enough.
The deal's not good enough. If I got a if I can't get enough money to take the home, flip the home with just those dollars, there's not enough meat. There's not enough meat on the bone, in my opinion. Now, look, somebody's going to go out there and prove me wrong. I get that because people do second position all the time. It ain't for me.
Yeah.
That's just not a deal for me.
Yeah.
So my advice on anybody getting into this business of flipping is make sure you are over marginalized, because time is your worst asset. Because when you flip, most of the time you're not doing all the work yourself. When you flip, you have to depend on other people. Other people's schedules are going to come before your schedule. Mm-hmm. And when other people's schedules come before your schedule, it becomes, at that point, it becomes a race of like who can get the thing done first. And time is money. Like, for example, I told the guy that we got the loan out for now, I told my partner, I was like, hey, dude, he gets to, I think, September 1, it goes up another 2.5%. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
At that point, because the guy had a run-in with the city inspector. And the city inspector, he says, it's kind of a hardtail. And it's just like, you should have known that going in. Like, now he's not mad at us and we're not mad at him, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Price of business sometimes.
So.
I just sold a flip to a contractor investor of mine that's a client. And he, the seller wanted a month after closing to stay into the house.
The seller wanted a month. Okay.
And so we wouldn't get to start work. He wouldn't get to start work until a month after buying it. And adding on to that advice to someone getting into the flipping business or investing business is don't ignore those soft costs. Because we looked at it. He called his lender. He's using a bank. He said, well, it's going to cost me $2,300 per month to hold this house.
Yeah.
And so go back to him and say, we're willing to do that, but you're costing me $2,300.
Yep.
And so we need to lower the price by that much or have some kind of concessions to where that's built in, because
pay him rent.
Yeah.
In that situation, the guy just needs to pay the rent.
Yeah. They ended up saying, you know what, we only need 3 days. Imagine that.
Wow.
So, and then anything after 3 days is $100 a day.
$100 a day. Yeah.
So, anyways, don't ignore those soft costs, right? You got your window, your flooring, your paint, you can measure that. The soft costs you can't ignore.
Measure.
Because it can be significant, 15, 20%.
And here's the thing. This sounds so cliche, but time is money.
Yeah.
And every day that you go is another however much in interest to either the lender or to whatever you can get. I mean, because here's the thing. There's about a 3 or 4 week window in there in June of 22, 2021, when interest rates went from here to here. Bro, I missed it by like 6 weeks. No, we did. We sold the house in August. If we sold the house in June, we would have made $30,000 more because of interest rates. They shot up so fast, so quick.
Yeah.
So, and that was a hard part of what hurt us.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right. Switching to our last little segment.
Yeah.
Infinite banking. So we've talked a little bit about it, but give me a quick overview. What is it? And then let's get into the details.
Infinite banking is a concept where you use cash value life insurance, whole life insurance, in order to store and invest cash as a savings vehicle. Okay. So let's talk through this. So there's a bunch of different ways we can go to California. We can go by plane, we can go by bike, we can go by car. What's the most efficient way? It's a plane. Yeah. Okay. So this is an extremely efficient way for us to store cash in a savings bucket. Here's the thing. It's not an investment. It is a savings vehicle. It allows us to have cash in a spot that grows uninterrupted compounding. It grows tax-free. It's creditor protected. If I could wave a magic wand and give you a savings account that did that, you'd probably sign up. Okay. So what that does is it is the leg of a stool that you don't need to have all your eggs in this basket. Like, I'm a market guy. Like, I've invested in the market every month. I've got real estate dollars and I've got IBC dollars. Like, it's a part of the stool. It's my safe bucket that I can use that money for whatever it is I need. So like, I use that money for business stuff, like in my food business. I use that money to lend. Like, I got a loan out right now. Matter of fact, the guy that I'm talking about, that guy that had the hard inspector and went a little too long, that's where that money came from. It's my IBC account. So what we do is we have whole life insurance. So instead of buying term, so the whole process of buying term life insurance is I want to have as much death benefit as possible for the smallest amount of money. Okay? So with infinite banking, what we do is we buy as little a death benefit as possible in order to put as much cash as possible in that policy. Because the insurance company takes that money, they give me a guaranteed rate of return, and they also take that money and they go do whatever they want to do with it. Okay, so we put a small amount of money in a death benefit, and then we load a bunch of cash in the policy as well, and it gives us all those benefits.
Okay, so let's kind of give me some examples of numbers of return. So there's a guaranteed return, just like a savings account at a bank, but it's, I'm assuming, a lot bigger.
Not a lot, boys. It depends on which. Like for right now, savings accounts are getting 3.5%, 4%, 4.25%, 4.5%, anywhere from 3.5% to 4.5%. Okay, but traditionally,
I was thinking checking account where it's like less than 1.
Yeah, but over time, the average rate for a savings account over the last 15 or 20 years is like 1%, 1.2%. Okay, the guaranteed rate we have is 4%. You also get a dividend. What is a dividend? A dividend, it's a mutual insurance company. So be careful. If you do infinite banking, you have to be a part of a mutual insurance company where we, Blake and Thomas, are the owners, not a stock insurance company. Because the stock insurance companies, their whole goal is to get the stock price high. Mutual insurance companies we're the owners, and so we get a dividend. So the more we have in that, the larger the dividend, which is super obvious. Okay, so we get a 4.5%. I say a 4% rate plus a dividend. The dividend crushes as time goes on. So we get that rate that's guaranteed. Here's the thing about that is, when I have 4.5%, I can 4% in a savings account. Anything I make in a savings account, I'm getting taxed on that amount. Okay. I don't have to pay taxes on this money that's frozen here because it's an insurance product. It's not a savings product. It's an insurance product, not an investment vehicle. Anything that's deemed investment, I have to pay taxes on the gains. I do not have to pay taxes on these gains, which is a wonderful, wonderful quality for this product. So,
okay, best use of it, right? So a savings account, I've got cash sitting there at a bank, and I need to go buy a car.
Yeah,
right.
Great.
So I go take that cash out, buy the car, own the car free and clear.
Yep.
How's that different?
Everything you buy, no matter what it is, you're financing it. Okay, you're either borrowing the money from somebody else and you're paying them to use that money, or you're losing the opportunity cost on that dollar you pulled out of your savings account that you could have been making interest on. Everything we do is financed. So what we do, like in infinite banking, what you would do is you'd have that money in that account. Say you had $100,000 of cash value. Say you have about a $50,000 car. In a savings account, you have $100,000 in your savings account. You pull 50 out. Your interest is growing on what? 50. Yeah. In an IBC account, you have $100,000 in your account. You borrow 50 from it. You're still earning on 100. You never lose that compounding. Now, just like in your savings account, when I go buy a car, what am I going to do the day after I buy my car? I'm going to refill that bucket anyway. Okay, so it's the same process we're going to do there. We're just going to refill that bucket whenever we get a chance to. The good thing about it is I don't have a timeline. Now, I do have to have a small interest payment I have to pay on the money I borrowed, but I don't have a timeline. Okay, and that's a daily average of balance interest rate as opposed to a compounding interest rate, if that makes any sense. So that's the major difference. Okay, now the way this thing works, and the handful of people that this concept is good for. Number one, it's a business owner. Business owner has expenses. For you, for example, if you were ever going to buy equipment for the rental business that you own, okay, I know you lease it and finance it at 0%. That's great. But if you're ever going to buy equipment, this is a great tool to have in the tool belt. Okay, I think it's the golden goose of house flippers. I really, really do. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing for house flippers because you can. If you're doing hard money and you're a house flipper and you're doing hard money, which most of the house flippers I know do hard money or bank money. If you're doing house flipping with an infinite banking account, you can make that interest up in 4 or 5 years, and you can be recapturing all that interest with your own account as opposed to paying a hard money person. Those are great. And then high income earners, meaning W-2s, meaning high income W-2, meaning like doctors, lawyers, dentists, those guys that have excess cash that want to set themselves up for having a place to store that excess cash is a wonderful place. So those are the three people. And investors, any kind of investor. I said house flippers, but any kind of investor. Those are great people to have these accounts. Yeah.
Last time we talked, and you just mentioned you use your IBC account to lend out of, and that's the investing side, which is interesting because I've told you I've done a little bit of that, but not out of that account. And so I like that idea because you're earning interest at two places. That same dollar is earning interest twice, basically. Yeah.
So I got two. Let's just use the $200,000 example. $200,000. I'm making 4% plus a dividend on that money, and then I loan it out to Johnny, and he's paying me 15%. Okay. say pays me 15% over 6 months. Okay. So my own money's earning over here. Okay. But I'm also earning over here. Now let's take, well, Thomas, you got to pay interest on the money that you borrowed. Yeah, I do. So it's earning on 4%, but the 4% it's earning on is earning on $200,000. I borrow 100 from it. I pay interest on the 100. Okay. So if I have it out for 6 months, for example, I'm only going to pay 2% on that $100,000. Does that make sense?
Okay. So it's 4% annual on the money you borrow.
Yep. So I'm going to pay 2% on that $100,000, but I'm going to make 15% in 6 months. And even if it was a year, I'm going to make 15% over here.
Yeah.
So the spread there is unbelievable.
So ignoring the opportunity cost, if you just go borrow this money with no intent to pay it back at a year plus, you're losing. But that's not the intent for it.
No, that's not the intent for it. It's just, again, you want to treat this thing like a savings account because that's what it's a savings vehicle. You're always going to pay your savings account back. Now, to your point, depending on what the cash value is and how much you borrowed, would you be losing money? You lose some, but you're earning on the large amount, not the borrowed amount.
So I guess that what I just said only applies if you pull 100% of it.
And you're never going to want to pull 100% out of it.
Right.
But you can, but you're never going to want to.
Gotcha. So, okay. So you always have that offset.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that we do, Blake, with everybody that we work with on the IBC is we are a group that walks them and coaches them through the whole process because this is not easy.
Right.
Infinite banking is caught, not taught, meaning you got to catch it in your mind. And a lot of times it takes people years to understand fully, okay, I can do this with this money. And so what we do is anytime someone wants to make a policy loan or wants to do something, they call us and say, hey, what about this? How's this sound? Great. And we coach them through it. At some point, they will not want or need us, but we're always there to coach them. Whereas some people, pat them on the butt, give them a 1-800 number and say, go on about your business.
Yeah.
We're there to teach people and coach people because it's not your job to learn the ins and the outs of this concept, because it's not, for some people, it's not easy. For some people, they get it, they read the book and they get it. But for some people, it's pretty complicated. So that's why we're here.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have a group name?
I work with Nowlin Associates in Homewood. Okay. Justin Kraft's the president. Wonderful, God-fearing man. He and I played ball at UAB. We didn't play together. We were two ships passing the night. He was leaving as I was getting there. But he's the one that started he didn't start the group, but he's taken over the last 20 years. And the guy that invented the concept of infinite banking, Nelson Nash, taught him. Nelson was from here in Birmingham and lived in Birmingham and spent 10 years with Justin teaching him how to do this. And we do as much of this stuff as anybody in the country. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
Cool. All right. Before we wrap up, I want to get some recommendations from you. You reading anything right now that...
Everything I'm reading right now, Blake, is fine. I don't have anything on my desk that's wonderful. I will say, anytime someone asks me about a book, I give them 2 or 3 things that I think are the best books I've ever read. Number 1 is The Wealthy Gardener. It's probably the best book I've ever read. You got to take the Bible out. Everybody, that's kind of the Sunday school answer.
It's a given, yeah.
But The Wealthy Gardener is a wonderful book. The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson is wonderful. It's a wonderful book. It's about prayer. It's a great, great book. If you love Jesus and have a relationship with Jesus, it's a wonderful book. And Andy Andrews wrote a book called The Traveler's Gift.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's a good one.
So those are the top ones of all time. As far as right now is concerned, I don't have anything that's just one. I'm reading a book called The Familiar Stranger. It's about the Holy Spirit, reading it in the mornings when I'm spending time with Jesus. It's great, but it's a slow read. Yeah. You can't read 15, 20, 30 pages of it right now. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Hormozy's new book, $100 million Money Models, I think is what it is.
Have you read his first 2?
I've read the first 2.
Yeah.
So I really like him.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. Podcasts. I know you got your own, so the Owner's Table.
Yep. Owner's Table podcast. We're closing in on 100 episodes.
That's awesome.
Right now, we really enjoy that. I'm leaving here and going to shoot an episode with Cal Tinsley, who owns Tinsley Performance over in Pelham. Yeah. A friend of ours. And but I'm really similar to you. We batch them together. And, you probably don't make money on this at all. Probably lose money. But the relationships we make on doing a podcast and the things we learn are priceless. Yeah. And so that's why we do it.
And it's fun. So it's a relationship business, right?
That's it. It is.
Also, where can people find out more about you?
thomascox.co. That's our website. We've got MealFit and Table Time, things like that. But if you want to reach me, thomascox.co is our website. And there's contact forms, numbers, all that stuff on there.
And if they want catering business, infinite banking, it's all there.
Yep. You can find it later.
Man, thanks so much for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Until next time.
Bye.